Hello everybody and welcome. You're watching Dave Playing Games. My name is Dave and I am playing Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2. It's a super fun what if meat grinder sandbox battle game which has just been made available on Steam. And I'm showing it off today because I think, well, you should give it a go. Now, I have to say, this game is in its alpha stage, so there has to be some wiggle room allowed here, but that's not going to stop me from putting its ambitious name to the test. So firstly, a classic World War II. German infantry versus the saviours of the world, America! In a city fight engagement, this is the ancient city of Troy, but we can pretend it's a nice little French village, you know, maybe a few more olives than we were expecting. And today's participants, we have 1,750. Okay, so the numbers don't quite work out because they've been placed in buildings, but it should be 1,750 assault weapon armed Americans backed up by 350 shotgun armed Americans. Their opponents, of course, the armies of the Third Reich. 2,000 German soldiers. Right, let's see what they've got for us. So already the Germans are swarming forward, and over the other side you see the Americans also racing into battle. Now I know what you're thinking. There are far more Americans than there are Germans. You've tipped the scales. Well, that's because the Germans are better. In fact, the average German soldier has a much better range and slightly better damage. And already we see some kill zones forming as they get either side of the bridge. Look at all of that. This is actually quite absurd. I feel like the American military's had better days. But of course this is not just a spectator game where you just line up two armies and hope that they do something interesting. There is an RTS element to this. For example, you can select units and you can ask them to move or attack where they necessarily wouldn't do because of their AI. So let's just see if these Germans want to get over this bridge, make things a little bit more interesting. No is the short answer. They're quite happy standing where they are. Some of the Americans pushing forward, it looks like they're actually getting the upper hand, but who knows with this situation. For America indeed, American soldiers. And it does in fact look like the terrain has not favoured the Germans at all, and well, yeah, they're all a little bit dead. In fact, with only a couple of Germans left, it looks certain the Americans are going to win the day. Someone needs to teach these guys some trigger discipline. Okay, so we saw what this game was all about. Big blobs of units, trying to get into combat range as quickly and efficiently as possible. Overwhelm the enemy, there's a bit of gore, there's a small rock, paper, scissors mechanic where some things have better health, some things do more damage. But this is Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator we're talking about here. We can do better than this. For example, Epic Battle for me suggests Gerard Butler in tight pants and slow motion twirly dance fights. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking the Battle of Thermopylae. Sort of. Oh, this bodes well. Introducing the ancient Greeks of legend, no fewer than 300 Spartans. And the army that almost certainly crashes my PC, Xerxes, 1 million Persians. Seriously, this is a lot of soldiers. That's an awful lot of assets. This is going to kill my computer. And they're off. Charging towards the... Wait, I've done this wrong. No, you fools! Stop! Go back! And they're off again. And this is really quite ridiculous. It's like millions and millions of ants. But the thing is, the closer you get, the more you can see that each individual one is actually a soldier running along the landscape, trying to get to the Spartans. Yep, so the Persians absolutely have their numbers here. However, they've got to get up the mountain to a choke point, which is basically the whole point of the Battle of Thermopylae. Can the Spartans hold off 1 million Persians? After all, their numbers are impressive, but they have already lost their shape. Some of them are struggling to actually walk up this mountain. They appear to be falling over. Go on, Persian. Go on, you can do it. You're almost certainly going to die, but you can do it. So, see that movie Gamer? They are surging up the mountainside now. but I can't help but feel those that are actually making it are doing so in very, very limited numbers. Here we go, the first Persian makes the Spartans and is very comfortably dealt with. In these numbers, the Persians are absolutely not a threat. They're all being very, very comfortably dealt with by the Spartans. But there's many, many more Persians to go. And with the Persians finally arriving, it looks like they're going to make a go of it. But really, they're not bothering that shield wall at all. And my word, at this rate, this is going to take all bloody day. In fact, as you can see, with all of the Persians mounting up and being slaughtered on the face of the Spartan line, there's quite a lot of gore. The blood just pouring down the cliffside. And with the Persian numbers increasing, it does seem like the Spartans want to get involved, although the choke point is kind of hurting them as well. In fact, I seem to remember something like this happening in the movie. There seems to be a lot of tumbling bodies. All I need to do is get this in some sort of weird black and white film noir, and it's basically a Zack Snyder movie. And with the Spartans gradually moving forward, they're leaving piles of Persians in their wake. And having a look at the stats, the Spartans have killed nearly twice their number, whilst only taking 19 casualties. That's showing that their elite military training is more than can be said for the hordes of Persian conscripts. Oh, but what's this? Oh, there appears to be Persians coming from a different angle. In fact, I hadn't even noticed this. It looks like the Persians are trying to outflank the Spartans. They must have seen the movie too. At this point, it is worth pointing out I did not add a punchback to this, so I don't know how they found out about this other path, but so be it. Meanwhile, on their main front, the Spartans are doing just fine. They are slightly changing the colour of the landscape, but they're doing their job. And the Spartan rearguard, look at that, pushing forward, cutting absolute swaths through this Persian army. There's literally thousands of dead bodies littering the landscape. Tonight, boys and girls, you dine in hell. See, this is slightly more what I was considering an epic battle. This is much more like it. And it is at this point that I feel that there's something else I need to draw attention to. There are god powers. For example, Noah's flood. So let's just generate a little bit of water, try and clean off this cliff face momentarily, although I have to say, it's not really helping. But if that same level of water was to be applied, say, right on top of the Persians, that's a bit of a game changer. However, whether or not I intervene, it does look like it is a losing battle and the Spartans are down to 100 of their number. The Persians are slowly but surely overwhelming them. In fact, the rearguard has dissolved to what basically looks like 2 or 3 Spartans, and, well, yeah. And whilst they're fighting valiantly, I feel like the Spartans only have a limited amount left in them before the still nearly 1 million Persians overwhelm them. And now with the Persians coming from behind to finish them off, it seems like the Spartans are all but done. Having to split their lines to fend off 2 fronts. It's only a matter of time. And there you have it. So, the armies of Persia have clearly overwhelmed the Spartans, which, to be fair, is what's meant to happen. But not without taking 1 or 2 casualties. I think those numbers are a fair trade. Of course, if I wanted to skew those numbers even more, I could do, because this game has an editor in it, so you can make custom units to fight on your battlefields. And for example, I can make a movie Spartan, which is slightly more devastating. In fact, this game will apparently let me do quite a bit. There's a lot missing and much more that could be added over time, but who needs a complete game when you have one that lets you pit history's greatest imperial military against an outflanking swarm of Tesla poultry? The legions of the Roman Empire supported by catapults, and their opponents, chickens. What could possibly go wrong? Well, these are no ordinary chickens. These are lightning chickens. And seemingly the lightning chickens are definitely having the best day. Absolutely destroying the catapults. And I actually can't see any of the Romans. I may have made the chickens too strong. Listen, buy the game, don't. It's no skin off my nose. This isn't a sponsored video. But I'll tell you what, I enjoyed it.